Welcome to the videos on Chapter 7 of Supply Chain Management course. This chapter deals with demand forecasting in a supply chain. This chapter is from the book Supply Chain Management by Sunil Chopra, Mendel and Kalra, 6th edition. There are 8 modules in this chapter. The first module is the role of forecasting in a supply chain and what are the different methods of forecasting. Then we move to the components of time series. In this chapter, we will be dealing largely with the time series forecasting methods only because they are more relevant for supply chains. In the third module, we will deal with the static method of forecasting, and in the next 4, we are going to deal with adaptive methods of forecasting. In module 6.4, we'll deal with moving average method. In 6.5, with simple exponential smoothing. In 6.6, with Waltz model, and 6.7 with the Winters model. And in the end, we will deal with errors, and we are going to deal with how do we choose the best smoothing constant. Smoothing constant is a constant or more than one constant which will be used in simple exponential smoothing, in the Waltz model, and in the Winters model. Next, let us start with first module, that is the role of forecasting in a supply chain and the methods of forecasting. Forecasts are important inputs to several of the activities of a supply chain. These activities are production scheduling, inventory management, and aggregate planning. These are those activities in which operations are involved. So for production scheduling, they need to know what are the orders and what are the forecasts for the orders. If orders are large, production scheduling, inventory management, aggregate planning will differ from in case there are lesser number of orders. People in marketing, they also need forecasting methods because they have to plan for sales force, promotions, new product introductions. And people who are in accounting and finance, they also require forecast for what kind of investments are to be made based on the forecast that have been made by the marketing people. And also they require forecast about their revenues and their cost so that they can do budgetary planning. And people in HR, they also require forecast for production planning for new businesses, and this is used for workforce planning, hiring, layoffs, etc. Our focus in this chapter is for those forecasts which are primarily for production scheduling, inventory management, and aggregate planning. So therefore, we will be dealing with only that class of methods of forecasting which are relevant for these kind of activities of supply chain rather than for others. Since there are many methods of supply chain forecasting, therefore we are only going to focus on those which are relevant for supply chain. Let us look at what are the various factors which affect the demand. In economics, you have seen that demand depends upon price, and you must have also seen if price is high, demand is low, and if price is low, demand is high. But we find that there are many other factors which also affect the demand. So one is price. Apart from price, it also depends upon the state of economy. When economy is doing well, after good monsoons, or globally, if prices of the oil have come down, you'll find almost all companies in the manufacturing, they are doing well. So the demand, aggregate demand, it increases. So it is the state of the economy also, apart from the price at which you are selling, the demand increases. Another thing that matters is the competitors' actions. So how much a company is going to sell, it does not depend only on the price and the market conditions, but it also depends upon what the competitors are doing. In recent months, you must have come across what Jio has done in the telecom market. So, demand for Airtel subscribers, Vodafone, and Idea, and BSNL, they all have been adversely affected. Not because of that they have increased the price actually has remained same or it has come down, but the way Jio is pricing and promoting its new offerings. So how the competitors are going to act in the marketplace, that also affects your demand. Another is about advertising or marketing efforts. So you can influence the demand not only just by increasing or decreasing the price, but also by advertising and promotion. And that precisely is the reason that companies they spend so much of money in advertising and promotions. There are hundreds of other factors also which affect the demand. It is not possible to identify all the factors which affect the demand. So demand is a function of, as we said, price, what competitors are doing, what is happening to the economy, what is happening to advertisement, and several other factors. Now, if we have so many factors, then what is that method we should use? There are different methods depending upon what kind of data you have and how many factors you want to include. In this chapter, we are primarily going to focus on a method which is based only on the past demand. So we will look at what has happened in the past, and based on that, we'll see what kind of trend is there, and we will try to project there and make the forecast. So the method that we are going to use is called time series method. Let us look at what are various methods of forecasting. First method is the causal method. Causal is about cause and effect. Okay. As we said, demand, it is a function of several factors, not just price. It depends upon price, it depends upon promotion, it depends upon availability, it depends upon competitors, it depends upon features, it depends upon taste, it also depends upon demographics. If in a society too many people are old, therefore demand will also depend upon the demographics, and there are many factors. If we try to estimate the demand based on some few or more of these factors, that is called causal method. So we look at cause and effect. This is a method which is extensively used by economists for long range forecasting. For another method is qualitative methods. In qualitative methods, we depend upon the judgment of the experts. So people who have been in the industry for several years, probably they will have better understanding of how the dynamics of the industry behaves, and they may make the forecast based on their prior experience. That is called qualitative in nature. Okay. This particular method is used when we are dealing with new product introduction, because we may not have historical data and the whole system could be new, so we cannot rely on other methods. Causal methods, it requires historical data, past prices, past demand, past promotions, past demand, past advertising, past demand, past competitors' prices, demand, and we use a method that is called regression for this one. And there is another method that is called time series method. This is the method that we are going to use. So time series method, it uses only the historical demand. As we mentioned earlier, it is only about the historical. All other factors we are not going to consider. And surprisingly, if we use time series method, we can get fairly good accuracy. Just because we have not taken into account several factors does not mean that our forecasts are going to be poor. Surprisingly, that happens. Therefore, we will use time series method. So no cause and effect relationship. Causal method is cause and effect relationship. In this case, there is no cause and effect relationship. So we will have time series method. Time series method, we will have time here and we will have demand, and we will look at what kind of demand has been in the past. And looking at this demand in the past, we will try to see if there is some pattern. If we can identify a general pattern, then we will make a forecast. In this case, probably this will be our forecast. And then we will use these insights that we get about the patterns which we will forecast. There are two methods in time series. One is called static, another is called adaptive. In this chapter, we are going to deal with both the methods. We will take one example for which we will use static, and in adaptive, we are going to use four methods. One is moving average, second is exponential smoothing, third is Holt's model, and fourth one is Winters model. We will take examples and explain how these methods are used. Thank you.